This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
A man is dead tonight following an early morning fire at a Warren Street apartment complex.
The victim was found lying face up in front of a steel door, an indication that he may have been trying to escape the blaze. This evening, smoke could still be seen floating from the charred shell of the Efficiency apartment, where it is believed the victim lived alone. Superintendent Walter Evans says the occupants of the other units had left their complexes before officers arrived on the scene and today have relocated.
When officers arrived, they discovered that heavy flames were coming from the rear section of a triplex, a single-story triplex. As officers, they disembarked the truck, and as they made entry with charge hose lines, they were just about getting set to make entry into the facility. They discovered that the lifeless remains of what appeared to be a male was found lying on his back near the door. We believe that this individual, he perhaps may be in his late 40s to early 50s, based upon information, and we believe it is an adult male.
Well, in other news tonight, we continue to look tonight at the prevalence of guns on our streets. Yesterday, we told you that guns are being smuggled into the country through private vessels.
And tonight, Janae Noel Ferguson looks at how crafty criminals are now shipping parts here to make guns of their own.
Police are becoming increasingly concerned about components for guns being imported into the country.
An agent clearing a container is finding some stuff purchased from Amazon, loaded in the container, that he is checking, and he recognizes its component parts for firearms. And so we have to pay attention to that.
Officer in charge of the firearms unit, Ken Strachan, says if allowed to go unchecked, criminals are able to bring these parts in to assemble their own high-powered weapons. He showed examples of pens and PowerPoint pointers that are now being used in gun making.
That not everyone understands what these parts are. The unscrupulous person knows what it is and using legitimate means to bring other stuff in and using the opportunity to also bring in those parts. The Bahamas Customs Department right now is running a series of retrainers for its staff, and we are intimately involved with that process in trying to assist the officers in identifying some of what we have found as these various component parts.
ASP reservist Hank Bain, who's considered an expert on firearms, said some of those devices were common in the past but are now making a comeback.
This pen gun, this has been around for some time. During my time, this has been around, but there has been an increase. The pen gun was one of the weapons that was very common among the drug dealers.
Meanwhile, Sean says that at the end of the day, the goal is getting those weapons off of the street and getting the public to understand the far-reaching impact of one weapon.
This weapon here, this is a 6-shooter. So in the first instance, until we reload this, that's 6 potential lives lost. This magazine has a capacity of 17 loaded in this, and surely there's the potential of 17 single lives lost. The assault rifle, we load a clip inside there, which we can put a clip that can hold as many as 45 rounds of ammunition. There are new clips that are out there that are drum fed that has the ability to hold as many as 100 rounds, or even the bell fed. Yes, we are seeing those things coming into our territory.
Already this year, more than 300 firearms have been taken off the streets of the Bahamas. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Bahamians are still outraged over Daphne Campbell's recent comments surrounding the execution of the Bahamas' new immigration policy, and she's calling for cruise ships to boycott the Bahamas as a result. Well, our news team spoke with a number of people today who talked about their initial reaction after seeing the video clip of her press conference for the first time. A number of them said they had to watch the video at least twice before because they couldn't believe what they had heard.
It's disgraceful. It's unthankful. They are just not right. This country, the Bahamas, has done too much for the Haitians. And that's the reason why they're here up until today. We did so much for the Haitians, where we could have bought lawnmowers and cut our own grass because we try to empower them, we give them the businesses. Okay, and to hear that lady get up on the radio and try to stop business from coming into to this Bahamas, it's disgraceful. There's no discrimination against Haitian children. The Haitians ran out the house or around the surroundings and left their children. If anything, they should be prosecuted. The parents should be prosecuted. Ms. Stafford, you know what she's talking about. You know, our laws have to be enforced. If we have an immigration problem, Miami has the same problem. They have a wet and dry situation for the Cubans. Why she isn't making noise about the Haitians having a wet and dry situation in the U.S.? We have to run the Bahamas. It's a small rock. This is for Bahamians and not for foreigners.
She's not a Bahamian. Okay, I know she's been in the Bahamas before. Why would she set against us?
I feel she should get together with some of our other counterparts and go to Haiti and try to make a difference there, so that when their people return, they would have some sort of livelihood and something that they could return to.
Why don't you try to help build up Haiti? Make Haiti a better place so the Haitians wouldn't have to be running to the Bahamas. And furthermore, she mentioned about the children. The children obviously has parents. And the children were not here before the parents. The parents came here and then the children. The parents came here illegal. They were wrong. So then we supposed to make it right with the children? No, I beg to differ.
You're not going to come here and then you're going to try to take over and create the same situation over there like you're doing here. She knows what she can do with what she's got to say. She can do the next best thing and use tissue, as far as I'm concerned.
Get the hell out of Bahamas. That's what I say.
Clearly, she is making and sparking outrage amongst Bahamians following her calls on cruise ships and all other industries to boycott the Bahamas. The representative for the 108th District in Florida has gone as far as giving the Bahamas government 1 week to apologize and reverse the immigration policy. Representative Campbell may be well known in Little Haiti, where she represents, but in the Bahamas, most people were simply unaware of who she was. Jared Higgs tonight takes a closer look.
Boycott Bahamas! Boycott Bahamas!
That's Daphne Campbell, a Haitian-born American politician who serves in the Florida House of Representatives. She's been very vocal in her protests against the Bahamas' new immigration policy, calling for a boycott of travel to this country in hopes of crippling the #1 industry. And as we take a closer look at Mrs. Campbell, we can tell you that she was born in northern Haiti in 1957. She grew up on the island and was educated there. In 1981, she moved to Florida with her husband to work as a nurse. From there, Campbell and her husband opened nursing homes that, according to published reports, were recommended for closing by the Florida Department of Elder Affairs. In 2010, she was elected to the House of Representatives. As a legislator, she served on the Local and Federal Affairs Committee as a Democratic ranking member, as well as the Judiciary and Legislative Auditing Committees. Representative Campbell was re-elected to the Florida House of Representatives during last week's midterm elections. This despite several encounters with the law, including state and federal Medicaid probes. In 2012, Campbell and her husband were hit with $145,000 worth of liens from the IRS. The Miami Herald reports other allegations against Campbell and her family, including attempting to change Florida law in order to get out of 5 traffic tickets, Medicaid fraud, tax fraud, identity fraud, grand theft, voting fraud, wrongful deaths, and mistreatment of seniors. As we stated earlier, Campbell was re-elected to the Florida State of Representatives for the second time. She represents a portion of Miami-Dade County that features a large population of voters of Haitian descent. The former nurse is also a vocal supporter of pro-life causes, which has put her at odds with some of her Democratic colleagues. Jared Higgs, ZNS Network News.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Jared Higgs. The market is now open to receive proposals for a second competitor in the mobile telephone sector. During a press conference yesterday, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie said that the successful candidate will be selected by the end of April next year. This step comes as government responds to the fact that Bahamians await competition in the area of cellular telephone service. In other business news, new opportunities for employment becoming available in the gaming sector. Experts say the new opportunities should offset those job losses in the banking industry, therefore allowing those professionals to be gainfully employed. This from gaming executive Bastian today while announcing the new board for Island Luck. And in international business news, the world's largest retailer, Walmart, reports a quarterly upturn in comparable store sales for the first time in almost 2 years. But it warned of headwinds ahead of what is expected to be a highly competitive holiday season. And in an effort to thwart its increasingly competitive internet rivals, Walmart made official a price matching offer with online retailers like Amazon. This has been your Royal Fidelity Business News. I am Jared Higgs.
They're the first gaming house to put together and announce a board of directors which will oversee the operations of a regulated and re-established business.
And as Clint Watson tells us tonight, it appears gaming is not the only thing on the new board's agenda.
It's a touching time in my life because today I've seen the industry move from the back trunk to the boardroom.
There's a paradigm shift taking place in an industry that has predominantly been led by foreigners. As part of its restructure for regularization, Island Luck has assembled what's being dubbed an impressive list of professionals from the financial sector and community. Heading the board is former chairman of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Barry Malcolm. Other members include former Central Bank Governor Julian Francis, former Cabinet Minister Teresa Moxie Ingram, forensic accountant Ed Ramming, businessmen Wes Bastian and Paul Major, attorney James Moxie, and hedge funds expert Dirk Simmons. Legal advisor for the company is attorney Alfred Sayers. CEO of Island Luck, Sebas Bastian, says they want to establish a new model.
Other plans outside of gaming, we intend to diversify Island Luck immediately, very rapidly. We want to move into our IPO that I would have said in previous interviews. That is one of our number one items on our corporate goals. So this board that we assembled is going to really assist us in making that dream a reality and expanding the wealth beyond a selective few to a broader base Bahamian ownership opportunity.
And aside from offering shares to the public, Island Luck also wants to venture into other industries.
And creating sister companies where our corporate vision will extend from the ownership perspective, because as we may want to get into telecommunications, power, whatever it is, but our end goal will always remain the same. Whatever industries that we get into, we will seek to provide public offerings in those industries and expand ownership.
Chairman Barry Malcolm tips his hat to Island Luck for being able to assemble a board of this magnitude. He says it gives the right mix of professionals to advance the industry and ensure compliance.
I think in time you will see natural development of the industry. Given the resources, given the volumes that are moved by the industry, you will see natural evolution over time. But the focus of the board really must be and is to ensure that the structure and the operation of the company meets all of the regulatory and financial reporting requirements that are now have been set for the industry.
Another example of Island Luck's plans on diversifying the industry, they've already been interviewing for compliance officer, and they plan on also looking to secure a chief financial officer. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
It's the first sign of success and confidence in the Bahamas Agricultural and Marine Sciences Institute, and executives from the pioneering school in Andros were more than excited to present the country's leader with its first fruits, literally. Here's Clint Watson.
Big smiles as executives of the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Sciences Institute place the first fruits of their labor into the hands of Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie and members of his cabinet. It's a big deal, proving the doubt is wrong and reaffirming the potential that BAMSI can bring to a new and burgeoning sector. Dr. Godfrey Ineas, eager to prove that the first harvest of papayas harvested from the tutorial farm represents the dawn of a new era.
We are on the road to feeding the Bahamas. We're on the road to cutting back on a huge food import bill of $1 billion, and we are in the process of producing a sustainable, high-quality commodity.
Expressing extreme pleasure, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie looks forward to seeing these products on the shelves of stores internationally. He also notes that BAMSI will also be known for research. He said that beyond seeing crops and livestock produced from the farms is the satisfaction of training people to carry the industry, something Education Minister Jerome Fitzgerald agrees with.
We also are trying to produce graduates, and that the intention is for us to produce trained minds in the field of agriculture who will go on to work in some of the farms in the Bahamas and who will go on to own.
And it's for us now as we move forward to ensure that when these graduates graduate, when these students graduate, that we have sufficient plan in place in order to assist them with fulfilling their dreams.
Agriculture Minister V. Alpha Gray says the only way to go from here is up. The Bahamas Agricultural Industrial Corporation is tasked with getting the products to market, something Chairman Arnold Forbes is excited about.
And everything that they have been able to produce so far have been sold.
We have been successful in obtaining and about to sign a 52-week contract for all of the papayas that are harvested on the demonstration farm in Andros, and there's also an interest for the same contract, a 52-week contract being signed for all of the bananas that are going to be harvested out of Andros as well.
When the House of Assembly convenes next week, product packages will be presented to parliamentarians, sample of the first fruits of a vision that is now reality. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.